Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están todos? Bienvenidos a la sesión en vivo de Estudiar en el extranjero. Alex, ¿cómo estás? Buenas tardes.
Hola, Belinda, muy bien, muy bien. Gracias por acompañarnos y por la plática que nos van a dar.
No, al contrario, gracias por dejarnos llegar a tus alumnos. Espero que esta sesión sea de mucho beneficio para todos. Y bueno, mi nombre completo es Belinda Pérez Rangel y soy parte del equipo organizador de The Student World. Antes que nada, queremos agradecerle nuevamente a Alex por permitirnos llegar a todos ustedes, a los chavos, a los padres de familia. Se los agradecemos muchísimo. Y bueno, estamos seguros que toda esta información les ayudará muchísimo en el momento que decidan estudiar en otro país, lo cual, por supuesto, es nuestro objetivo. Tenemos cosas maravillosas que compartirles. Y tenemos la participación de nuestros expertos. Por un lado tenemos a Frank Thomas Redkiki de Rochester Institute of Technology en los Estados Unidos, a Magdalena Dormal de ESSEC Business School en Francia, a Freya Key de University of Prince Edward Island en Canadá, quienes por supuesto nos darán una visión general de cómo planear y prepararse para estudiar en el extranjero. Posterior a esto, cada uno de ellos tendrá unos minutos para compartirles información acerca de la universidad que representan. Al final vamos a tener una sección Q&A de preguntas y respuestas. De hecho, en su pantalla les aparece una sección Q y A, en la cual les pedimos mandar todas sus preguntas, que con muchísimo gusto las estaremos respondiendo, ya sea durante la sesión, y si no, al último vamos a tener unos minutos para poder responder a esas preguntas, ¿ok? Así que siéntanse en la libertad de mandar todas las preguntas que tengan. Y bueno, pues bien, esperemos que ya estén todos listos porque ya comenzamos, disfrútenlo muchísimo, hagan muchas preguntas y estamos por arrancar. Les agradezco. Comenzamos. Hi, Frank.
Hola,
Okay,
Belinda.
Frank,
Sorry, I had to hit all of the buttons there. Hello, Belinda. Thank you very much.
Hi, Frank.
Hola a todos. Me llamo Frank Thomas Rikiki. Soy consejero de admisiones internacionales para Rochester Institute of Technology en el estado de Nueva York. Estudio español hace 4 meses, ¿sí? And so tonight I will speak some in Spanish and some in English. And so I hope this works well. So thank you very much for your time. Puede ser lo suficientemente desafiante seleccionar una universidad en su propio país, pero cuando expande sus opciones a todo el mundo, la tarea puede parecer imposible. Cuando se trata de estudiar en los Estados Unidos, puede prepararse concentrándose en 4 áreas principales: aspectos académicos, temas financieros, de salud y seguridad y todo lo demás. Estas son las preguntas que debes hacer. Hay más de 5,000 universidades en los Estados Unidos. Puedes reducir esto al pensar en las áreas o materias que desea estudiar. Luego investigué las universidades que ofrecen esos programas. Pregunta qué buscan esas universidades en un buen estudiante y luego compara eso con lo que se ofrece en tu escuela. Por ejemplo, tal vez la universidad requiera cálculo o precálculo para su programa de estudio. Conocer estos requisitos previos lo ayudará a seleccionar clases en su escuela actual para prepararse para la universidad. Además, pregunte sobre los requisitos del idioma inglés y cómo puede cumplirlos. Vea si la universidad ofrece programas de idioma inglés en el verano antes de inscribirse o concurrente con su primer año. Y finalmente, ¿hay alguna experiencia académica que sea importante para usted, como cooperativa, investigación o estudios en el extranjero? Pregunta a las universidades sobre estas experiencias. Cada universidad es diferente en costos y ayuda financiera para familias internacionales. Investigue todo el costo estimado de su educación en su institución antes de comenzar el proceso de solicitud. Aprenda sobre los diferentes tipos de ayuda financiera ofrecidos a través de la institución y si aceptan el ISFA o el perfil CSS para ayuda financiera basada en la necesidad. Es muy importante saber si la universidad es asequible para su familia antes de comenzar. Luego, busque otras fuentes de financiación para estudiantes internacionales, como su gobierno nacional. Por ejemplo, el Fondo RO de la OEA ofrece préstamos sin intereses para estudiantes de América Latina y el Caribe para estudiar en los Estados Unidos. También debe planificar otros gastos, como gastos médicos, de transporte y otros costos de vida en otro país. Al elegir una nueva ciudad, ¿qué factores son importantes para usted? El clima, geografía, área del país, ciudad grande o pequeña, cultura, actividades. Investigue el clima y la cultura local en las universidades que le interesan. Pregunte sobre la seguridad y la vida cotidiana en el vecindario donde se encuentra la universidad. Se requiere seguro de salud para estudiantes internacionales en universidades de los Estados Unidos. Pregunte qué tipos de planes de seguro de salud ofrecen las universidades. Además, visite a un médico de viaje y obtenga las vacunas requeridas. Finalmente, investigue los bancos locales y las compañías de telefonía móvil para manejar su negocio mientras está en los Estados Unidos. Pregunte si su universidad tiene una página web para obtener información sobre COVID-19 y visítela regularmente. Si no vas a la universidad hasta 2021, entonces este puede no ser un problema tan grande como lo es hoy. Puede usar los grupos de estudiantes de Facebook, Reddit y otros recursos en línea para preguntar qué piensan otros estudiantes sobre la universidad y hacer preguntas sobre la comunidad local de ciudadanos de su país. Póngase en contacto con su embajada local para obtener los requisitos de pasaporte y visa y use el sitio web de Education USA para obtener información útil para estudiantes internacionales. Gracias, Belinda, and it's time for me to hand this off to my colleague who will go next.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, so next we have Magdalena. Magdalena, are you there? Creo que no está Magdalena. Disculpen las fallas técnicas, pero bueno, Internet no siempre se porta muy bien. Pero aquí está Magdalena.
Sí, muchas gracias,
Okay,
Belinda.
Thank you, Magdalena.
Muchas gracias y perdón por, sí, me alegro de haberlo logrado. Bueno, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Magdalena Dormal y yo trabajo en ESSEC Business School, pero voy a empezar mi presentación sobre la primera parte, que es los estudios en Francia. Y antes de hablar precisamente sobre eso, un comentario muy breve sobre la elección, ¿no? Y la construcción de un proyecto de estudios en el extranjero. Yo creo que para organizar este tipo de proyecto hay que tener en cuenta dos cosas. La primera es el presupuesto, ¿no? Como decía Frank también, es una decisión familiar y el primer punto es conversar, ¿no es cierto? Tener esa conversación con la familia y ver con qué presupuesto cuentan. Y otra cosa muy importante también es tener el coraje y la curiosidad de querer irse fuera de México a estudiar, ¿no es cierto? Y digo coraje porque por más de que estoy convencida de los frutos y de lo enriquecedor que es una experiencia de estudios afuera, hay que saber también que tiene sus desafíos. Uno deja su país, sus amigos, su familia, su cultura, para mudarse a otro país. Así que bueno, considerando eso, si tienen estas dos características ya definidas, entonces ahora sí los invito a viajar a Francia para convencerlos de que Francia es un destino muy interesante. Bueno, ¿por qué? Para empezar, porque Francia es el país número 1, no solo en fútbol, sino en recibir, o sea, el primer país de habla no inglesa que recibe la mayor cantidad de estudiantes extranjeros. Por ejemplo, si consideramos el caso de México, Francia viene en tercer lugar después de Estados Unidos y de España. Esto quiere decir que ya tenemos una comunidad de estudiantes mexicanos que están viniendo a Francia a estudiar hace muchos años y queremos que siga creciendo. Así que ojalá consideren Francia como destino. Por último, para esta primera diapositiva, contarles que el presidente francés, Emmanuel Macron, puso como prioridad durante su mandato, pero luego también, en recibir más cantidad de estudiantes extranjeros para que vengan a estudiar a Francia. Y para eso se puso como objetivo mejorar el recibimiento de los estudiantes. Entre otras cosas, por ejemplo, para los que no hablan francés, para que haya, por ejemplo, más comunicación en inglés, más letreros en las universidades que los reciben. Así que, bueno, esto es una manera de decir, vengan a Francia porque serán bienvenidos. Y para terminar mi primer parte de la presentación, quería comentarles, bueno, por qué, de una manera un poco más macro, ¿no es cierto?, por qué considerar Francia para realizar sus estudios. Bueno, hay muchas razones. Para empezar, Francia ofrece una educación de excelente calidad y bueno, no solo a un, digamos, nivel europeo, sino realmente internacional y además a precios muy atractivos. A ver, les creo muy brevemente, Francia tiene universidades públicas y privadas, como muchos países. Hoy en día, las universidades públicas, esto ya van a ser hace un año, que no son totalmente gratuitas para los estudiantes extranjeros, sino que tienen un costo de alrededor de 2.500 euros por año para una licenciatura. Pero bueno, digo, tanto las públicas como las privadas, que en general uno para darse una idea, una licenciatura puede tener un costo de 14.000 euros al año, por ejemplo. Bueno, el costo de la educación en Francia es muchas veces mucho menos costoso que en otros países para obtener una calidad excelente de educación. Por otro lado, contarles que hay muchos subsidios para estudiantes muy interesantes que obviamente ayudan para el costo de vida. Un ejemplo muy concreto es para el alojamiento, donde el gobierno les da una ayuda de entre 100 y 200 euros por mes a los estudiantes para pagar su alojamiento. Y también en el transporte público los estudiantes pagan solo la mitad. Después, por otro lado, bueno, cuando uno elige un país, ¿no es cierto?, para hacer sus estudios, obviamente elige una universidad y también elige una economía, ¿no es cierto?, sobre todo pensando en que cuando uno se gradúa, probablemente quiera buscar empleo en el país en el cual realizó sus estudios. Y entonces, obviamente, el hecho de que la economía francesa sea muy dinámica y sea, de hecho, la sexta en el mundo y la segunda en Europa, esto para ustedes les da un indicio de las posibilidades que tendrán una vez que se diplomen. Por otro lado, hay muchas empresas francesas internacionales presentes en muchos países del mundo. En México, por ejemplo, habrán visto Danone, Carrefour, Airbus, que construye aviones, entre otras, L'Oréal. Bueno, obviamente, si ustedes realizaron estudios en Francia y regresan a México, por ejemplo, tendrían muchas oportunidades en este tipo de empresas francesas. Y por último, algo muy importante que no dije, es que en Francia se ofrecen muchos programas en inglés. Si ustedes no hablan francés, no hay ningún problema porque van a poder estudiar en inglés en Francia. Pero viniendo a Francia sin saber francés, probablemente lo aprendan, ¿no es cierto? Sobre todo después de 4 años. Bueno, además de ganar un idioma que les va a ofrecer mayores oportunidades laborales, digamos, el idioma francés es el tercer idioma más hablado en el mundo de los negocios. Así que esto les va a brindar una herramienta muy útil. Y para terminar, ahora sí, esta primera parte de mi presentación, obviamente elegir un proyecto de estudios en Francia es elegir también vivir en el corazón de Europa, con todas las facilidades que eso presenta, ¿no es cierto? Vivir en el continente europeo, poder viajar muy fácilmente en tren, en avión y disfrutar de toda la cultura a todo nivel que ofrece el continente europeo y obviamente Francia. Ahora sí también paso la palabra. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Magdalena. Muy interesante, chavos. Pues bueno, ya han visto dos oportunidades y tenemos una más. So we continue with Freya. Thank you, Freya.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Can everybody hear? Okay, I'll get started. Okay, so you have traveled from the US to France. Now we're gonna go to Canada. Okay, so a Canadian degree is worldwide recognized, just like the one from US or from France, from anywhere in the world, which means when you graduate from a university in Canada or a college in Canada, you can go anywhere you want. And I know that studying abroad is quite expensive, but luckily the cost of tuition fees are very affordable in Canada. And of course, there is the living cost and all other costs in Canada. But as an international student, that you are allowed to actually work up to 20 hours per week during school year and full-time during the summertime, which means you will be able to earn a bit money. Probably not enough to pay for your school fees, but you should be able to earn enough to at least to cover some of your living cost. And we're very proud to say that warm and friendly stereotype about Canadians is true. And when you come to Canada, you will find a very welcoming country with a unique Canadian culture that embrace all kind of diversities. And that's actually how I felt when I first moved to Canada about 11 years ago. That's how I felt. It's a very welcoming and warm country. And this Canada actually ensure that people's customs and traditions are preserved and that value of all people are respected. And you can just simply be yourself. And so this creates a great advantage for foreigners, meaning that you can easily adapt and then also making friends. And guess what? 50% of the population are not speaking English as their first language in Canada. And so after you study in Canada, you may want to make Canada as your permanent home. And that's exactly what I did. So if you're considering moving to Canada, and the PR process in Canada make this actually easier for you. So after that, you will make your temporary trip to Canada a permanent way of life. And so how to apply to study in Canada? And so the first thing that you need to do is to actually choose the programs and institutions that you wanted to study. And then you have to apply to the institutions. So you apply to the universities. And of course, every universities and colleges has their own admission requirements. So that require you to actually go look on their website and make sure you do your homework. And then you will be able to apply. And then also different university has different deadlines. Even in the same university, different programs will have different deadlines. Just for example, my university, that we have deadlines for certain programs, but we do rolling admissions for some programs. So those are different things that are actually up to you to do your own homework. And also there's a transcript that you need to submit to the university that you apply to, and also there's English requirements that you need to submit. So you might have to take IELTS test or TOEFL test. But for some universities, if you do an IB, just like what you guys are doing, if you graduate from IB school and you have IB diploma, then we don't require you for English test. So it also depends on the school. Some school do that, some school are not. And then after you get admission to the universities, and you all then apply for a study permit. So there are different requirements that for study permit. And after you get a study permit, then it's time to travel. Once you get to Canada, you will be studying Canada. And like I explained before, that when you study in Canada, you will be able to work at the same time. And then after you finish, then you will be able to apply for a permit, which is called postgraduate work permit. It's a permit, it's an open work permit that allow you to work in Canada legally for a maximum of 3 years, a minimum of 1 year. It depends on the program that you do. For example, if you study a 1-year diploma in a college, then when you graduate, you will be able to get a postgraduate work permit for just 1 year. If you study a 4-year degree in a university, then when you graduate, you will get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. So this permit will allow you to work anywhere in Canada. So it's not like, oh, you study at my university, you can only work in this province. So it doesn't work this way. So you can go anywhere you want. And so the only thing is the province that you work at is the province that you're applying for PR for, so permanent resident. So when you choose the province that you want to work for, and if permanent residence is your dream, or that's the goal that you want to do, you should choose a province that has more immigration options. And sorry. And so those are the things I wanted to talk about studying Canada. Yes, thank you, Belinda.
Thank you, Freya. The next slide is mine.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, that's okay. Pues bien, chavos, efectivamente han tenido tres opciones de dónde escoger, pero creo que lo más importante es que siempre tengan en cuenta que no importa la universidad o el país, hagan bien su tarea. Revisen bien requisitos, revisen qué es lo que se necesita en ese país, en esa universidad. Y bueno, y sobre todo, la verdad es que la experiencia internacional es muy valiosa. Se los digo yo que hace mucho tiempo fui una alumna internacional también y te da muchos plus, la verdad es que suma más que restar. Aprendes a conocer el mundo o conoces el mundo, tienes otras oportunidades, aprendes otra cultura, tienes oportunidades profesionales posterior a tu, y a veces en el momento que haces tu intercambio o bueno, tu estudio en el extranjero, de alguna forma te llegas a cotizar más también, aprendes un idioma o perfeccionas otro, a veces hasta 3 idiomas, dependiendo de dónde te vayas. Por ejemplo, Francia, puedes estudiar en inglés, aprendes el francés, y por qué no aprendes otro idioma cuando estás en contacto con muchísimas culturas, ¿no? Tienes un desarrollo personal, aprendes a administrar tu tiempo, aprendes a administrar tu dinero, lo cual es muy, muy valioso.
Thank you very much for that, Belinda. And I just want to take a few minutes to tell you about the Rochester Institute of Technology. My name is Frank Thomas Rikiki, and I am your admissions counselor for Latin America and the Caribbean. I was just in Mexico City in February before we had to stop traveling everywhere. And I cannot wait to go back and hopefully to visit your school.
Hi,
Belinda,
Frank.
everything good? Yes.
Everything
can we
good.
continue?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So we will keep going. Thank you, Belinda. There we go. Okay. So RIT is one of the largest private universities in the United States. We have been around for almost 200 years, and we are very focused on getting you experience for your career while you are still in university. More than 95% of our graduates are working or in graduate school within 6 months of graduation. And as I'll mention in a minute, we have very strong partnerships with a lot of companies around the United States and around the world to get you that experience. We have the word technology in our name, so every one of our programs, both engineering and design, as well as business and psychology, are going to be infused with modern cutting-edge technology. Of that pretty large student body, we still feel like a pretty small campus. More than 19,000 students, including more than 2,600 students that come to us from more than 100 countries around the world. The city of Rochester, as you can see on this map, is actually located very close to Canada. We are about 1 hour by car from Buffalo, about an hour and a half from Niagara Falls. It's a 1 hour plane flight to New York City with its 3 major airports, and from there you can get anywhere in the world. Rochester is the 3rd largest city in New York State with about 750,000 people. And we're located in the suburbs outside the main part of the city. So you have a very safe campus located near a big city and everything that has to offer. I just wanted to show you 2 or 3 pictures of campus just to give you an idea of our location. You can see that it's a modern looking campus, but it's located in a suburban area. So there's a lot of natural environment nearby and a lot of nice places for you to explore. In the background of this photograph, you can see our residence halls. Those are the high-rise towers in the back. And in the foreground here, this yellow-looking building with the gray roof is our global village. It's a combination of offices, services, restaurants, bank, gym, fitness center, hair salon, and apartments on top of that. So our campus is very walkable. It's very livable. There are many things to do on campus on the nights and weekends too. And then when you want to get out of campus, you have a big city close by with everything that has to offer. RIT has 9 colleges or faculties of study. And they're not just all technology. Even though we have one of the best computing and information sciences colleges in the country, we also have great programs in liberal arts and business, one of the oldest photography programs in the entire world, a top game design and development program, and some very high quality programs in art and design. We offer more than 100 different minors, so you can minor in anything that you want to expand your experience. And there's also about 40 opportunities to earn a bachelor's degree and a master's degree at the same time while you're at RIT. And a key part of an RIT education is our focus on experiential learning, learning by doing things. We have one of the largest and one of the oldest co-op programs in the world. Now, co-op means paid, professional, full-time work experience in school as part of your education. So it's not just an internship, which might be low pay or low responsibility. Instead, you're working full-time in your career for 3 or 4 months for an entire semester, and you're getting paid for that experience too. So we believe this is a big part of why our students have such a high placement rate and why more than 60% of them get job offers from these companies while they are still in school. We have more than 3,000 companies all over the United States and in several countries around the world that hire our students for these co-ops while they are still in school. So again, this is part of your education. Some of the time you are in class and you're paying tuition, and some of the time you're not paying any tuition or fees, and you're getting your education from working for one of these many companies that are partners with us around the world. We're also a leader in this part of the country when it comes to research. We have more than 50 research centers, institutes, and labs on campus where our faculty and our students are working together to advance our knowledge in various fields. And you can see several of those examples here on the screen. So if you're interested in research, that can be a big part of your experience. Our faculty receive millions of dollars in federal government grants and private industry grants every year to work on researching and furthering our knowledge in these fields. We have more than 300 clubs putting on more than 1,300 events and activities every year. We bring major artists to campus to entertain, like Leslie Jones, Andy Grammer, and T-Pain. They've all been on our campus in the last couple of years. So it's a very residential campus with many things to do, many activities that you can be involved in, and it's very easy for you to get started in those activities. This is just a small sample of some of the many sports and intramural activities that we have. Not only soccer, which is very popular here in Rochester, but humans versus zombies and cricket and Quidditch and pickleball and many other fun activities and ways for you to stay involved in the campus community. We are located near a big city, but we are in the suburbs. We are in the residential area. So we have a very large, safe, private residential campus where more than 6,000 students live and work and study on campus full-time. That means we offer on-campus housing and many services that you need to stay on campus and do everything you need right there. And there are a lot of off-campus apartments and housing complexes nearby too. So it's a very nice environment to live in. I happen to live in downtown Rochester, but I ride my bicycle to campus. It takes me about 40 minutes to ride my bicycle there, and it's a very nice ride. So when you apply for admission to RIT, you have three choices. You can apply directly into a major like computer science or graphic design, or you can apply to explore one of our colleges like engineering or business or science and take your first year to select your major. And finally, if you're not exactly sure what you want to study, you can explore the entire university and we'll work with you to select a major that works for you. Now, the main thing that we look at is your high school record. We're going to look at the classes that are offered and how you did in those classes and how you challenged yourself at your school. We also do accept standardized tests, but starting in the fall of 2021, the next class that we're looking at, the SAT and ACT are optional. So if you're taking it or planning to take it, that's great. It can help your application, but it will not be required. However, if your citizenship is from a country that does not have English as an official language, you will have to take a TOEFL or an IELTS exam with your application. So these are just some of the things you can see on the screen that are required for your application. And as your admissions counselor, I will help you through that process when you're ready to apply. When you apply for admission, you are also applying for merit scholarships, automatically part of the process. So you don't have to do anything separate for scholarships. But if you would like to be considered for need-based financial aid, you can fill out the ISFA, the International Student Financial Aid application, and send that in to us with your application. A quick note, if you are a dual citizen with the United States, you can use the FAFSA form for your financial aid. So I'll conclude by leaving that up on the screen. If you want to scan that inquiry card real quick with your phone, you can fill out our inquiry card online and get more information from us. And that is my personal WhatsApp chat number right there. So you can WhatsApp me since we are in roughly the same time zones. It's usually not a big problem for you to send me a quick text message via WhatsApp, and I'll follow up with you and answer any questions I can for you that way too. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass it on to my colleague who will go next from ESSEC, I believe.
Hello. So, gracias.
There you are.
Gracias, Frank. Bienvenidos a todos de vuelta a Francia. Bueno, ahora entonces vamos a seguir con la presentación sobre la universidad en la cual trabajo, que se llama ESSEC Business School. Como les comentaba, tanto en Francia, pero particularmente en ESSEC Business School, no hace falta hablar francés para postular a nuestros programas. Así que guarden eso en mente. Quisiera, decirles que la presentación hoy va a ser breve, tenemos poco tiempo, estamos muy contentos de presentar y queremos presentar los tres por igual, así que solo sepan que no voy a poder hablar de todo lo que me gustaría y las diferentes oportunidades que presenta mi universidad, voy a ser concreta, pero sepan que, al igual que Frank, estoy disponible para cualquier tipo de pregunta después de esta intervención. Yo les voy a escribir un email a todos para que ya estemos en contacto y me puedan escribir por cualquier cosa. Yo soy su contacto y para mí será un gusto poder acompañarlos en esta toma de decisión, si les interesa, obviamente, mi universidad. Bueno, ahora sí vamos a lo concreto. Y bueno, ESSEC Business School es, como lo dice su nombre, una escuela de negocios. Nosotros estamos focalizados en business, ¿no es cierto? Ofrecemos programas a nivel de licenciatura, maestría y MBA, y tenemos alrededor de 6.000 estudiantes. Es decir, que somos una universidad de talla media, media chica, ¿no es cierto? Tenemos el 34% de nuestros estudiantes que son internacionales, y tenemos más de 98 nacionalidades representadas. La vida estudiantil es muy dinámica, tenemos más de 100 student clubs, ¿no es cierto?, asociaciones, que son oportunidades que se les presentarían a ustedes si eligen venir a ESSEC. ESSEC es, como les comentaba, una universidad privada francesa. El costo anual del programa es de 14.000 euros anuales. Y ESSEC nace en 1907 en las afueras de París. Pero hoy estamos muy orgullosos en contar que hemos abierto 2 campus más fuera de Francia. El primero en abrir fuera de Francia fue el de Singapur en 2005, y luego abrimos también en el 2016 un campus en Marruecos. Esto nos hace tener presencia en 3 continentes en 3 continentes diferentes: el europeo, el asiático y el africano. Esta es para mí una diapositiva muy importante, y en esto voy a basar lo que queda de mi presentación. Hoy en día, con la sobreabundancia de información que tenemos, ¿no es cierto?, porque toda la información está online, a veces es difícil, ¿no es cierto?, diferenciar un programa de otro, sobre todo. Es decir, la toma de decisión de qué carrera queremos hacer es muy importante y muy difícil, sobre todo cuando uno tiene 17 o 18 años. Y hoy en día, como decía Frank antes, cuando uno decide no estudiar en México, en su país, y ir hacia afuera, se abre una tal amplio abanico de opciones que a veces es difícil elegir. Entonces, yo les quería comentar sobre todo cuáles son las tres strengths, ¿no es cierto?, las 3 fortalezas y las 3 características que distinguen nuestro programa del resto. La primera es la excelencia académica. ESSEC Business School y nuestro programa de licenciatura en Business Administration ha sido rankeado el mejor del país en los últimos 5 años por 3 rankings diferentes. Y también ESSEC Business School está posicionada como la 7ª mejor escuela de negocios en Europa. Así que, bueno, lo que quiero decir con esta parte, este aspecto de la excelencia académica, es que si ustedes están buscando la mejor escuela de negocios en Francia, esa somos nosotros. La segunda característica de nuestro programa, en este caso yo obviamente en esta presentación me estoy basando sobre todo en nuestro programa de nivel licenciatura, ¿no es cierto?, para ustedes que están terminando la preparatoria. La experiencia profesional es realmente un tema central para nosotros y es uno de nuestros puntos fuertes también. Nosotros tenemos una red de empresas socias que no solo ofrecen oportunidades laborales para nuestros estudiantes, sino también que nos ofrece una perspectiva sobre los cambios que tenemos que hacer en nuestro currículum para formar en las habilidades que las empresas necesitan. Entonces tenemos un vínculo muy estrecho con empresas, tanto en Francia, pero también internacionalmente, para saber si estamos realmente formando en las habilidades que ellos buscan. Y esto es muy importante. Por eso nuestro currículum está realmente basado en la experiencia, ¿no es cierto? O sea, en la importancia de tener las habilidades que luego se van a necesitar en el mercado laboral. Y por eso nuestros estudiantes terminan con por lo menos 10 meses de experiencia profesional. Y esto es muy importante porque el primer trabajo que uno tiene que encontrar cuando se gradúa es el más difícil, sobre todo si uno no tiene experiencia profesional. En cambio, si uno ya se gradúa con por lo menos 10 meses de experiencia profesional, ese primer trabajo va a ser más fácil de encontrar. Una nota específica sobre este tema es que nosotros ofrecemos un programa que se llama Apprenticeship Track, es opcional, pero el que quiere, el estudiante interesado, puede realizar los últimos 2 años del programa, que dura 4 años en total, firmando un contrato con una empresa en Francia, y en los últimos 2 años del programa, el estudiante está 6 meses estudiando full time y 6 meses trabajando full time en esa empresa. Y el estudiante no solo entonces termina el diploma con todo un año de experiencia profesional, sino que además la empresa paga los últimos 2 años de la colegiatura. Entonces, eso es para darles solamente un ejemplo de la importancia que tiene, ¿no es cierto?, la experiencia profesional. Y ahora sí, ya para terminar, el otro punto muy fuerte, ¿no es cierto?, y la fortaleza de nuestro programa es la apertura internacional que nosotros ofrecemos. Como les comenté, tenemos campus en 3 continentes diferentes, tenemos más del 34% de los estudiantes que son internacionales, es decir, ustedes no vendrían a Francia a estudiar con franceses, vendrían a Francia a estudiar con estudiantes de todas partes del mundo. Tenemos más de 170 universidades partners para hacer un intercambio académico. De hecho, todos nuestros estudiantes tienen que realizar por lo menos 6 meses de intercambio académico y es obligatorio en cualquiera de nuestras universidades socias. Y tenemos también 10 universidades socias para realizar un doble diploma. Así que bueno, esto solamente, como les comentaba al principio, un screening, ¿no es cierto? Una primera una explicación, una presentación de nuestro programa. Así que ahora sí, ya aquí con esto termino por ahora mi parte. Muchas gracias, Belinda, y cuando quieran paso la palabra.
Muchas gracias, Magdalena. No tengo mi cámara prendida, pero continuamos. We continue with Freya.
Okay, so my name is Freya, and I'm a recruiter and student advisor at the University of Prince of Island. And so I just mentioned, so I introduced about Canada earlier. So Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. So we are located in one of the smallest. We're actually located in the smallest province in Canada, which is called Prince Edward Island. And even though we're very small, but we're very, very important in the history because we are actually the birthplace of Canadian Confederation. And so the capital city of the province is called Charlottetown, and that's actually where the university is. And we actually have a different name. We're actually the Canadian version of Hawaii because we are one of the most popular tourist site or the tourist province in Canada. And so when Canadians are thinking about, oh, I'm going to go on vacation, the first thing come to their mind is Prince of Island. Just like when the people from the US want to go on a vacation, they will probably go to Hawaii or those places. So that's why we're called the Canadian version of Hawaii. So that's about the location. And so the University of Prince of Island is a small to medium-sized university, and we have about 4,500 students in total. And within those 4,500 students, we have about 13,000 are international students. And they're not just from 1 or 2 countries, they're actually from 103 different countries and regions. So that makes you, so when you come to the University of Prince of Island, you're not just meeting Canadians, you're not just meeting students, from China, from India, you're meeting friends from everywhere. And that's actually one of the good things, that you're coming to a small university with the chances that you're gonna meet with somebody that you probably never heard about that country before. And another thing is the university is a very good place. It's a very quiet place for you to study, and also a very friendly environment. As I mentioned it before, that Canada is a very friendly country, but for the East Coast, so east side of Canada, I find my personal opinion is even friendlier than the rest of Canada. And also the degree is also worldwide recognized. And we actually have some unique programs that's offered at the university, which I will mention it later. And so when you come to the university, we have a different scholarship opportunities, and every year we give out more than $6 million. And so so for the scholarships, we have the entrance scholarships that's purely based on your grades. So when you apply as a high school graduate, we will look at your high school grades and we'll give out scholarship just based on your grades. And we also have scholarships for current students that based on your grades for the previous year, where we also have other scholarships that's based on your volunteer works and other things. So, but some of the scholarships that you have to maybe write an essay, you might need recommendation letters, but there are different opportunities for you to get scholarship to support your studies. And another thing is, as I mentioned before, in Canada, we do have a very affordable tuition and living cost. But in Prince of Islands, we're actually one of the most affordable universities in Canada, and which I will mention later as well. So actually, Frank mentioned co-op opportunities earlier in his presentation, and this is a very unique opportunities for students. And we also offer co-op programs in most of our programs in business and science. And so this is something that I always tell students, doesn't matter if you're gonna stay in Canada or not in the future, but co-op is definitely something you should try it. And I have so many friends that they actually got their first full-time employment right after graduation just from their co-op. Because when you do your co-op, the companies will actually training you, right? So when they train you, they spend money, they spend time. And if you're really good, and if you're really good at what you do, then they definitely want to hire you after you graduate, right? Because then they have to spend more money and more time to train new people. So that's why we always tell students, if there's a co-op opportunity in the program, definitely do it. And of course, the immigration opportunities, like I mentioned it. So Prince of Islands is actually one of the easiest province to get permanent residence across Canada. So the program, so this is not all the programs that we offer at the university. So we actually have arts, business, science, nursing, education, veterinary medicine, math and computational science, engineering. But those are the lists that I actually took it out that make us very unique. So in science, we have the sustainable design engineering, and we have nursing, kinesiology, and foods and nutrition. Those are health related. And if you're number smart and you want to work in the money, like in the future, if you want to work with numbers, with money, you can think about actual science, financial math. If you really like computer, if you like coding, you can think about computer science, video game programming. And if you're interested in environmental studies, we also have applied climate change and adaptation. We have a national research lab right on campus just for climate change and adaptation. And if you want to be an animal doctor in the future, not human doctor, animal doctor in the future, we do have one of the 5 veterinary college at the UPEI, and in Canada, actually only 2 veterinary colleges takes international students, and we are one of the 2 colleges. And we also have a faculty of business administration, and we have 7 different specializations that you can choose from. And the popular ones are accounting, marketing, and tourism and hospitality. And if you're interested in digital communications, this type of work, you can think about applied communication, leadership, and culture program. So within all those programs, except the last programs in the arts, all other programs has a co-op program with it. Again, a co-op program is not required for the degree, but it's recommended. So those are our programs. So I know you guys are in IB school. So for IB requirement, that we require a completion of IB diploma. And so again, specific programs has a specific course requirement, but we do need a 3 higher level and with 3 the secondary level courses. And we also award transfer credits. So what that means is we take your, we do take credits for your higher level courses. Let's say if you have a biochem and math as your higher level courses, you have overall 28 for your diploma, and each of your higher level courses are 4 or above, you will be able to get transfer credits for the courses that you are doing in the HR level. So the math, bio, and chem, you will get transfer credits from your IB diploma. So you don't have to take those courses again in your first year. You will skip those courses. We will award those courses for free for you. So those are the IB requirements. And remember I mentioned about affordable tuition and the cost. So those are our tuition and cost for studying at UPI for 1 year, and you're looking at Canadian dollars. So for 1 year, you're looking at 25,000 Canadian dollars for both living cost and your tuition. So the tuition itself is 15,000 plus the living cost is 10,000. So it will be 25 in total. And again, those are the costs without a scholarship and without you working. So you keep in mind that you will have an opportunity to get a scholarship, and you can also work during school 20 hours per week, and then you can also work during the summer for full time. Yes, so those are everything about the University of Prince of Ireland. And if you have questions, feel free to ask us in the chat box, where I think we have a Q&A section after that, right? I will turn the mic back to Belinda.
Thank you, Freya. Muchas gracias, chavos. Pueden mandarnos todas sus preguntas. We do have one question that Frank and Magdalena have already replied to, but I'm going to ask you, Freya, to help us answer this question. So the question is, are you still accepting applications for January 2021, or until fall 2021?
Okay, so yes, I should have mentioned that, sorry. Our application for fall 2020 is still open. I know it's probably a little hard for students to come in fall 2020, but we are still open for that. And then for the next intake, which is January 2021, it's also open. And we have something called rolling admission for most of the undergraduate programs, which means students can apply to our programs until school starts. But of course, you need to leave time for yourself to apply for a visa and study permit if you are not a Canadian citizen or PR. So if for international students, you should probably start a little bit early so that you leave yourself enough time to apply for visa. So yes, we are open for admission So for now, we have 2 admissions dates that student can apply to. So first is 2020 fall, and the next one is 2021 January, which we call winter semester.
All right. Thank you very much. And we do have one more question. Oh, yeah, 2 more questions. A student has asked, I have interest in studying
midwifery.
There you are. I have interest in studying midwifery, but, oh my God, it's moving, I'm sorry. But here in Mexico, the career has no educational validation. There is no degree for it. So that means that, is there a possibility for this student to go to one of your universities?
I think it depends if a student wanted to study abroad and go home afterwards, or if they want to stay, because if they wanted to come home after finish the degree or finish the program, then they should probably think about something that they can actually work, right? Because he said something, they can't find a job in Mexico or something. I think I might have missed part of the question.
Belinda, do you mind if I take that one?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
So we're just going to continue with the next question. I hope everybody can hear us. This is for Magdalena. What are the requirements in order to get a scholarship in France? Is it difficult to get one? Is it necessary to do an admission exam from Mexico?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So regarding this question, it really, you need to get admitted first in a university in France, and then so ask for a scholarship that is, for a certain university. I am not if this is clear. So you have at the university, at the bachelor's level, the French government does not offer scholarships. They do offer at the master's level. So at the bachelor's level, it really depends to the university you're applying for. And regarding the one for which I work, ESSEC Business School, you can actually, of course, apply to a scholarship as a Mexican citizen. And just so you know, we offer some scholarships that cover up to 25% of our tuition fees. Las becas que ofrecemos son que cubren hasta el 25% de 14,000 euros.
Thank you so much, Magdalena. Belinda.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Do you mind if I go back real quick to the question about midwifery?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so the student that has asked about midwifery, my first suggestion for you, like Freya said, would definitely be if you are able to get a degree outside of Mexico in that specific program, if you would be able to validate your degree back in Mexico. Because sometimes there are certain health programs that you are able to take outside your country, but when it's time to bring it back to your country and validate it, sometimes it will take extra coursework or even going back to college, to university, to actually be able to validate that program. I don't think that any of the institutions here tonight actually offered that specific program. Do one of you guys know? Freya?
No, we actually don't.
Okay. Yeah. And it's also because it's such a specific course, such a specific career that you're interested in, that maybe sometimes you would like to consider taking something like a nurse program and then have a certificate in midwifery or something like that. So, when you're exploring your options, just make sure to consider those things as well. Okay. That's what I had to say. For the next question, and I think there's been a few questions, and I'm going to open to all of you guys about scholarships for students for sports. So sports scholarships. Do you guys offer sports scholarships, and what would be your suggestion for students?
At RIT, we're a Division III NCAA university, so we do not offer scholarships, but we do have 24 sports for men and women. The most popular sports here are ice hockey and lacrosse. All of our scholarships are merit-based scholarships, and you're automatically reviewed for those when you apply.
Sorry, Freya, go ahead.
So for UPEI, we do have sports scholarships, but first it depends on what sports. And then second, they have to go through a tryout, and normally it happens in grade 12. And so it's a little difficult for international students to get a sports scholarship from like when they enter the university. Many of them do come to the university and then they do the tryout in their first year. I've seen some international students playing our basketball team and our hockey teams, but usually they come, they get the scholarship after they become our students, because they will do the tryout when they get here. And then but again, it's not guaranteed, because we can't guarantee that you will be selected from the tryout. Yeah, that will be my answer.
And regarding ESSEC, as I just said in the chats, we do not have sports scholarships. We do have, as I said previously, academic scholarships, which cover up to 25% of our tuition fees.
We also had a question about the English proficiency tests that are required to enter institutions and whether the IB diploma can be sufficient to waive those tests or not. Who would like to go first?
So maybe I get that one. So at ESSEC Business School, we do ask for an English test. We accept 4 of them. So the TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC, or the first certificate of Cambridge. So we only accept one of these 4 tests, and so this means that the IB is not enough. The IB diploma.
At RIT, we're the same way. We will accept the IELTS or the TOEFL. We have been accepting the online version of those exams that have recently been offered because of the current unpleasantness, as well as the Duolingo online examination. If you are a dual citizen with a country that has English as its primary language or official language, then you don't have to use an IELTS or TOEFL.
For UPEI, we actually accept IB diploma as a replacement for IELTS or TOEFL, and but first you have to meet the requirement for entrance, right, for IB diploma, and then you have to pass your English subject. Doesn't matter if it's a secondary or the higher level. So yeah, so short answer is yes, we do.
We have another question here. I think, Frank, that would be for you because you mentioned co-op, right, in your presentation. Yes. Mm-hmm. Can students choose which co-op they would get?
Yes. So students are in charge and control of the co-op process. At RIT, we have a very large co-op and career services office. Every student is assigned their own co-op counselor to help them through the process. So while the student has to do the interviewing and the searching for the jobs, and then they go do the work, we provide them a ton of support, a whole bunch of support to help them work on their interview and their resume skills and to look for those jobs. We also have 2 very large college fairs on campus in the fall and the spring that serve about 5,000 students. And several hundred employers come to campus and do interviews on the spot. So even though the student does all of the work, we provide a lot of support and resources to help them find the job. And the student decides which job they want to accept and where they want to work.
Perfect. Along those same lines, I'm going to extend this question to Freya and Magdalena as well. It's about finding a job, right? Job placement. And this is something that it's very, very important for students when they're considering studying abroad, because you don't want just to have a degree. You want to put that degree to use. And one of the things that you guys should consider is definitely if how the institution can help you, find that job or put you on a path to find that job after you graduate. So I wanted to ask Magdalena and Freya if your institutions also have career centers that the students, can talk to someone about employability and what they can be doing after they graduate.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. So for UPEI, we actually have 2 offices that does the, similar jobs. So first is, of course, our career center. So their main focus is to help or train students or help them to learn how to find jobs in Canada. So especially for international students, when they come to Canada, so probably they're not sure where to search for jobs, how to write a Canadian resume, or how to do a Canadian version of interviews, or how to answer tricky interview questions, So we do have a big office for that, and they can meet with counselors one-on-one and to go through all those process. So which I use the same process as well, because I graduated from UPEI and I got my first on-campus job from the career service, and the same counselor still working there. So those are one office, and we also have another office. It's called Study and Stay PEI. So it's an office help fourth-year students to connect them with local employers, and then hopefully they can build relationships, and then to help the fourth-year student to find their full-time jobs right after graduation. So we do have an office for current students. And we also have another office for fourth-year students who are looking for a full-time employee after graduation, because we are a province that welcome newcomers, and we're hoping that our international students that graduated will stay in PEI after they graduate and help to build the economy together. Yeah.
And in regards to ESSEC Business School, we also have a career center that helps our students via different ways. So one of them is that they organize fairs with, and they invite companies to our campus. So they organize fairs twice a year. So these companies come with a stand throughout a whole day, and students can contact them and have they have actual interviews during these fairs. We also have una bolsa de empleo. That is, so there are companies that really, as we are the best in France, they really want to recruit. They look for our students, so they only publish some job offers in our particular bolsa de empleo. And so this is very helpful for our students to find an internship and their first job. And we also have our alumni network that is very important at ESSEC, and students can really, starting from the beginning of their career, their program, they have this anuario, in which they can really contact alumni directly. They can send them an email, and this is very useful to find a job too, because you do a search by industry, and then you can contact the alumni of ESSEC that are already working in this industry, and that is very useful and has even helped to find a job.
Perfect, thank you. Because of the time, I'm going to read one more question, and I guess that I'm going to combine actually a couple of questions into one here. But since the theme for this session is studying abroad, planning and preparing for it, we know that things are a little bit different now because of COVID-19 and all of that. But under normal circumstances, how long do you guys think that it would take, for the whole process, the admissions process, until the student is actually on campus? Like, how early should students be planning their study abroad?
Is this for students who want to start as first-year students in the fall of 2021?
Well, I don't think it would be 2021. I mean, some of you guys probably have rolling admissions, so you would still be able to take them. But let's say in general, I don't know, if we're talking to a student who is in 10th grade or 11th grade, I would say that if we're an 11th grader, the time is now. Like, you have to start planning right away. For a 10th grade, you probably have a little bit more to explore, but what would be your advice, for students that are thinking about starting abroad? How early should they start the planning?
My suggestion from my presentation earlier is to start thinking about what you generally would like to study, like engineering, science, business. You don't have to narrow it down yet. And then start looking at the universities in this case, the United States, that have the programs you'd like to study and are in the cities or the parts of the country that you think you might like to live in. So that way you narrow things down some. That's what you should be doing in the 10th grade or the 11th grade. In the United States, you do not start the application process until the fall of the year before you go. So for 2021, we don't even open that process until August of this year. Now, we are still accepting applications for fall of this year and for spring of 2021. So if you're interested in that, you can still apply now. But for those who are in the planning phase, 10th and 11th grade, start narrowing down your choices of country, of university, of area of study, and then you don't worry about starting to apply until your senior year, your 12th grade year.
Yeah, I agree with Frank. I would say that the ideal timing would be 1 year before the start of the program. So mainly because of the English test, because sometimes you don't have a lot of dates, right, for this kind of English tests in your city. So to make sure that you have the English test, but also like the essays, the recommendation letters in time, it's the best scenario would be to start in September 2020, to start a program in September 2021. Of course, if you have already your English test, then you can start a little bit later, but as always, the sooner the better, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, I agree. You guys have, yeah, I think it's the same for Canada. 1 year ahead would be great, and also because when they're in grade 11, they don't have enough grades to apply for the university programs, and because we do need their full grade 11 to predict a result for grade 12. So it's ideal to have at least like partial grades in grade 12 plus grade 10, 11 for admissions. That's just something I want to add. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm gonna call Belinda back so that she can make the closing remarks for us. But I wanted to thank you, everyone, for being here. Actually, Belinda just told me that her internet is not really good. So I guess the closing remarks are on me and also on Alex tonight, the counselor for your school. So I wanted to thank you for being here with us tonight and for allowing us to share some information with you. I definitely want to thank Alex for helping us organize this session for the school. Just to let you know, you will all be receiving a recording from this presentation, and you will be able to see the contact information for the presenters as well. So if you have any specific question about their institutions, you can contact them right away. Okay. Alex, would you like to say a few closing words for us?
Yeah, well, first of all, Karen, Belinda, thank you very much for putting all of this together. The 3 universities as well, Frank, Magdalena, Freya, thank you very much for this valuable information. I'm sure you will be getting a lot of questions from parents, students, from me as well. There's just really quickly one question which has been popping up, which was to all universities, are the professional titles valid everywhere or just in the place you studied in the country you studied in? So that's one that was really
briefly
important.
in the United States.
Yeah.
It depends on the profession. Usually a university degree is recognized in every state, but every state in the United States has different requirements to hold that job. You might have to get a license or do certain extra type of work, but usually the diploma, the degree from the university, will be accepted throughout the entire country.
Right.
And
no, Magdalena, you go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Freya. Regarding my university, since our bachelor diploma is recognized by the state, by the French state, then it means that in France, of course, it's recognized. And if you go back, for instance, to Mexico, there are bilateral agreements between Mexico and France. And when France validates a diploma, then Mexico does it too. So this will enable you to go, for instance, forward and do a master's degree without any problem in Europe or anywhere.
I think Canada is very similar to the US. So if you get a degree from Prince of Island, you can use it anywhere in like all the provinces in Canada, and also depends on the profession. For example, as a teacher, you can get a teacher's license in Prince of Island, but if you want to go to British Columbia, then you have to apply to transfer. You can't just use the same license. You have to apply to transfer, but you can be transferred. So, and then you can be used worldwide as well. Yes.
Okay.
And Alex, I'm going to actually give my my personal experience from that as well. So I am Brazilian, currently living in the United States. My undergraduate degree is from a Brazilian institution. That's where I graduated. And my diploma is valid here in the US as well and recognized. And I was able to apply for my master's and everything. So just like they said, you know, there are a few specific programs that you'd probably have to do some digging to find out if it would be valid going back to Mexico. But majority of these programs are, and these institutions, they are accredited and they offer programs and degrees that are valid worldwide.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you again, guys, so much. Also, well, Karen and EEDU Media, which for us, Lancaster, they're the ones that put all of this together. So thank you again. And we'll be in touch with you, I'm sure. And I'll be getting some information and feedback from students and parents and people at Lancaster School, so we can, you know, be in touch as well. And if there are any more doubts, get in touch, students or parents, directly with you. So
Great.
Thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening, and we hope that you guys really enjoyed this session, that was fruitful for you. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at any time. Okay. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Adios.
Bye.